Hi friends, welcome back. So we're going to talk about the Vice layoffs. I got some crazy footage that you have to see. We'll also be talking about Elon Musk is suing OpenAI and other market news. So I always appreciate coming back for more, and let's just jump right in. So first, this is the Vice layoff video. If you haven't seen this, this is absolutely insane. And essentially what it is, they have to come out and just announce the bad news. And they're flooded with emojis. Watch it for yourself here, and you can see what happens.
I'll be brief. We're going to host a refinery town hall after this, so I'm going to talk about the Vice publishing business. It's a very, very, very difficult time in the macro landscape. I think you all know that. I've talked about that a lot. As Bruce said, the Vice publishing business is now going to operate as a smaller, break-even business. It is no longer unprofitable. It is, but it is a much smaller offering. Video.
Corey,
Yes,
I
please.
just want to, it's impossible to ignore the emojis from my side. And I think we're going to organize this in a way where we can actually give the information to people who want to receive it in the way it's meant. Thank you for your time and your ability, your presence in terms of trying to explain that. I think let's progress with our own town halls on this. Thank you for the questions that we have received. We'll do our best to answer those in a forum that makes sense for this company. Thank you.
So as you can see there, they ended the meeting early, and it was wild. If you were watching, guys, like all the downvotes were coming in like nuts, and essentially all the employees were taking it pretty well. I mean, it's just bad news. There's no other way to put it. Now, to be fair to Vice, I didn't feel like the leadership was rude here. I've seen other calls to where like the leadership seems a bit like really uncaring, and it's hard to break the bad news that essentially the money's not there. And then you can see there at the end, they had the abrupt cut the meeting, right? So Corey actually cut out, and then it was the other four in the conference room. I'm starting with this story first because I think as money is flowing out, things are going to get ugly. And this is sort of why we're going to be talking about, say, the Elon Musk lawsuit, right? So when all the money is flowing in, everyone's happy, we're all making money, etc. And then when something's just like, less money to go around, now we're sort of fighting for what's left. So Elon Musk is suing OpenAI and Sam Altman. You guys, we've been talking about this for a while now. This has been the hot topic, the AI, and is OpenAI going to take over the world? And Sam Altman's like trying to meet with the investors in the Middle East and try to, it was like the numbers were crazy numbers, like 5 to 7 trillion kind of stuff, like try to build, chips and AI company. Musk is saying, hey, you are breaking a contract. We'll read through the details of this stuff. And will Musk prevail on this one? Who knows? I mean, Musk likes to sue a lot of people. And one thing I was thinking about, yes, Vice is laying off, but if you want job security, become Elon Musk's lawyer because he always has someone to sue. So let's read through this stuff. And it says Elon Musk sues OpenAI and Altman for breaching firm's founding mission. And here's some more details here. Elon Musk sued OpenAI and its chief executive officer, Sam Altman, alleging they violated the artificial intelligence startup's founding mission by putting profit ahead of benefiting humanity. And this issue was actually the big thing when Altman wanted to take the company in more to the profit space, and the board of OpenAI was like disagreeing. You guys remember this whole thing? And so he's like, all right, fine, I quit. And then he was going to go to Microsoft, and all the employees were like, hey, I'm going to go with Altman. And it was a very sensitive issue in the company because they all have like stock options, et cetera, and they were waiting for their big payout. And I think this is something that to say, there's a couple ways to clear this. So one is if you want to just take Musk as a completely altruistic person, which my opinion, he's not, he's a business person, right? But, yes, the idea that it's all open source and we're all going to share ideas, etc., is great. But you have to also understand that Musk does have his own personal agenda to where he's, starting a competing company with X/AI, whether that will be part of Tesla or part of Twitter or a whole new thing where he, just leaves both Twitter and Tesla to go do this. Who knows? That's a different issue. But it is certainly certain that he would like his hands on the OpenAI tech. Why not? One of the things that we're talking about here is, here's a quote here. It says, yeah, this is part of the lawsuit. To this day, OpenAI website contains to profess that its charter is to ensure that AGI, so that's like artificial general intelligence, benefits all humanity. In reality, however, OpenAI has been transformed into a closed source de facto subsidiary of the largest technology company in the world, Microsoft. So that's what the lawsuit says. And what we're saying here, we're saying we, meaning Elon Musk and team, we're saying breach of contract, breach of fiduciary duty, and claims of unfair business practice and other grievances. So a bunch of stuff in there. But I gave you the basic gist of it is Musk is like, yo, give me your tech, share it with everybody. I need to catch up. Because Musk has also said before, like, hey, everyone, we just need to slow down. And the joke's been, we need to slow down so that Musk can catch up. But again, I think this is an overriding principle of when there's not as much money in the system, there's more of a fight. And there's going to be winners and losers the same way as with the Vice situation. It's probably not a good time over at that company, right? Some people are going to stay and keep their jobs. Some people are not. And also, too, you could talk about the couple of ways you could look at this. You could talk about the AI situation to where AI can replace jobs over, say, advice, so there's less, work there, of course, and so they're gonna have to figure out, who to keep, who not to keep, and it's gonna be tough. Moreover, there's just less money all around to go around. So you have, the AI pressure, the money pressure, and how do you break it to employees? The crazy thing is that actually the S&P is in the Nasdaq rate reaching all-time highs today. I keep feeling we need a cool off. I'm not necessarily saying we're gonna get a massive crash or anything, but according to numbers that I look at, and I show this from time to time when it starts to get hot, is the shareholder PE ratio. We're currently trading at 34.46. The median and the mean is around 15, 16. If you don't understand what this means, it's basically looking at the total market and how much do stocks cost, the price, compared to how much companies earn, right? So if you believe in fundamentals, generally these things revert to the mean. You can take a look at here, if you have the chart. Whenever it gets around the 40-ish, usually it goes right back down. Dot-com bubble is around the 44-ish. Actually, it says right here 44.19. So the high right now what it is at 34. So we're actually running pretty hot unless companies start making more money to justify it. Now the thing is, when you put this together with what's going on rest around the world, Europe, you see headlines here. Europe is having its worst earnings season since the onset of COVID. So my understanding is that UK is really facing slowdowns. And we'll see what happens with say, Germany and France. But it's not just there. It's also Japan is facing slowdown. I think both the UK and Japan are technically in a recession, a couple quarters of negative GDP. And, the question is the USA going to be facing something like that? Or is the USA, like really special and going to avoid it and everyone else is going to have a downturn? Remember, China's in a downturn right now. And I can tell you, I'm in Korea and we're also in a downturn. It's obvious, like just the mood of people. Plus, you can see where construction slowed, or like, for example, there's a building in that neighborhood and like, they said they were going to start building this, skyscraper thing last year, and they're just not. So the money's probably ran out. And they'll do a little bit of time for tax reasons, but we always wonder, like, are they going to build this thing or not? But this doesn't mean that all construction stopped. We have another building in our neighborhood that is going, looks like full bore. So again, it's the have and have nots. The same way with, say, the Vice situation or, say, the OpenAI. So it all relates. And kind of why I like to go over the stories with you every day of what's going on is just to keep you informed. And you won't be, like, so freaking out all the time, like, not understanding what's happening. You'll get it. Like, for example, I've been mentioning this for a while, the national debt. To me, this is an important issue. It's not really a political issue for whatever reason, but I think it should be. It says here, national debt is rising $1 trillion about every 100 days. And that was this is according to March 1st, 2024. We'll check on this every now and then. I remember when and this is the national debt. It's about 34 trillion. It's a lot. I mean, it's really a lot. But I remember we were watching this and it was like below 100,000 per person. Now it's at 102,000 per person. And I keep an eye on that. You're also seeing a little bit of change in sentiment among hedge funds. This is like one. It's was it Capital Group? I would say all at Lurie. So they're saying, hey, maybe the Fed's not going to cut this year, and then the yields will go to 5%. I've been saying that all along. The Fed should just stand pat. And like when you hear these like things with coming out of Wall Street, like, oh, they're going to cut 7 times. What are you talking about? But the people out there, like if you're underwater, if you're saying commercial real estate or something like that, you're just trying to like kind of pressure the Fed as much as you can because, man, you're feeling the pain. If you want to look at yields right now, so the 2-year is 4.55, the 10-year is 4.21, so we're still facing an inversion. I mean, if I had to bet, there's going to be a slowdown coming. I mean, it's weird because like you'll get these sort of pops, like it pops in the kind of a negative way. So this is an example here. U.S. consumer sentiment post surprise drop from initial reading, and then the next month it'll be like, oh, everyone's happy again. It's like we've been. It's not just the stock market. It's also the many indicators out there where you get these crazy blowups and then silence, like say the Evergrande situation, or recently we have the New York Community Bank, or like you get this like really crazy news and it's like, okay, you don't hear anything, and then surprise, we're firing our CEO, etc. So I do keep track of all this stuff, and any of these things, guys. I don't want you to be like freaking out all the time. I just want you to be prepared, right? So what does that mean? Like when you look at consumer sentiment, they ask people, hey, are you thinking about buying a car? Are you thinking about buying a new washing machine? Like essentially, what do you feel about your big ticket purchases? Are you thinking about buying a house, etc.? Consumers thinking, you know what? I think inflation is going to be above 3%, and preparing for that. The terms of consumer drop, this was a large drop right here. That's where it is that we're talking about. It was going up a bit, but dipped duck down, and we'll just keep track of this stuff. And when you see these kind of headlines, it sort of capture the mood of the market that we're in. So this is again today. It says a couple earns up to $70,000 a month, still feels stressed about money, and quote, we're not broke, but it feels like we are. And I laugh because this is something that my wife and I, we have this experience to where, we go out to eat and we can afford the prices, but like just everything feels expensive. If you guys know what I'm talking about. True story. We were at the grocery and apples were like $20, and I'm just like, what the heck is this? It was like a bag of apples. It just seemed like too much. I mean, we can afford it, but I don't really want to. So the moral of the story though is that we went to another store and found cheaper apples somewhere else. I was okay with $10 for apples for a bag of apples, but 20 just seemed like kind of nuts. So it is what it is. Also too, regarding the working life, this was a wild story as well. The Rockstar Games, if you guys know this one, they make Grand Theft Auto. So there were leaks of the games that came out, and it's going to be a Grand Theft Auto number 6, and these are popular games. Essentially, what they're doing, they're forcing everyone to come to the office for security reasons, and I think that might be a trend. Any excuse to get employees back in if the company feels like it is more productive. As an employee, you're probably like, no, I'd rather stay home in my pajamas. It's a way better life. Sit in the bed, doing whatever. And this is something that I think from employee point of view is that if you just have like a task-based work where hey, give me the task I have to do, I do that task. Don't look at my hours that I put in. Just give me the task I need to do and do that. And people are a lot happier. But, me personally, I hate going to the office. I've never liked it. And I've always sought out opportunities. That's why I became a professor. There really isn't much of office time. You do whatever you want. It is a much better life. For me, I don't want to do the 9 to 5, but I know a lot of people have to go back to that. If you're working from home, you can let me know your thoughts on this one. But this was an interesting one with the Rockstar Games and security, and whether or not back to the office helps productivity. That's another question. But security, yes, I would agree. Probably it would if everyone comes back in. Another thing that's going on as well. Remember, we're talking about the Vice and the OpenAI stuff, and now we're talking about Boeing, because I want you guys to relate this stuff all together and talk about that couple that says we still feel broke, we make $70K. I guess the workers over at Boeing, they want a 40% pay rise, and again, this represents sort of the world we live in right now, to where people just feel things are too expensive, be it your housing, be it your fuel, etc. I think housing is a big one. It's just, I don't explain to you that stuff's expensive, and people haven't gotten a raise for a long time while inflation is going up. So they need these raises, they feel, to meet the current prices. And then this makes it tough to bring prices down, because you're giving people said more money. Also too, it puts more pressure on the market or particular stocks if companies can't make as much money because they have to pay their workers, etc. So keep an eye on this kind of stuff. And lastly, unfortunately, we have to talk about the news of Navalny. So this was Putin's a political opponent who died in prison. I think that was a week or so ago. We talked about this on the channel. They had his funeral today, and people did show up. According to the official, Russian press, they said about 1,000, but who knows what the actual numbers are. I'm just telling you, no one really knows. There's a few pictures of it out there on the net, so I was looking at some of these. So the Moscow put out like your paramilitary military kind of police people out there to prevent any kind of rioting or anything, so I don't think there's any incidents. But it was a shame that's happened, and I just want to show you guys a few pictures of this. The last thing I want to mention is I've mentioned it before, and I will say it again. If you haven't seen the movie Tetris, please do check it out. It's just a fantastic movie. One of my favorite movies the last year or so. It's about business. It's about making friends. It's about traveling to Russia in the 80s, or should be 80s. Yeah, 80s. And it's just a great story. I don't want to ruin any of it. It's not really about games per se. That's part of the story, but it's just a really, really good story, and something that whenever I see this kind of story, like say a Tetris story of, whenever I see conflict in the world or problems out there with people, is, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we should find ways to be friends and not fight. So that's just my opinion on that stuff. So sorry, I know I talk about multiple issues at the same time on this channel, but I like to keep you all informed, and I like to spend time with you every day. And for me, just perfectly frank, this stuff's fun. I read this stuff anyway, and be able to share it with you and have a community to talk about it, I think is always healthy and good. So thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you next video.